very excited to see how this one's going to turn out here. Two extremely, very, very good players that are coming into this at this point. I think Tin and TRR are going to put on a nice show for us, and I expect a very close race.
Already starting with coffee and vodka. I think you need to pick your poison here going into the match here, and I'm at a loss to know kind of how things are going to turn out. I think it could be anyone's game today.
I like that way of putting it. Coffee versus vodka. It's quite good.
Absolutely. Well, I think we are just about ready to kick things off. I think the runners are all set, and I think we're good to go.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're staying at this point here. I'm currently waiting on SRL. We've got Manix86 here kind of working things behind the scenes, waiting for Tin and TRR to get things set up on their side and readied up. And once everyone's ready to go, we will get this underway. Any predictions out of the gate there, Fancy Puss? Who do you think is going to take this one?
That is a tough one. Both these runners were very actively running this a couple years back. Both had kind of taken a break from it and coming back for the tournament. Have gotten to see a little bit of play from both of them. Clearly some very high level play going on in both cases. It's really hard to see where things are going to end up. Really, it's a toss up.
And right you are with that one. So the SRL count is away, and we're going to be underway here. And away we go. All right, so starting things off here. Stage one, not really too much to worry about overall. I don't think we're going to see too much crazy strats out of the gate here. I don't think we're going to be going for like the clip later on. But at this point, let's get the whip upgrades, grab ourselves a cross, and get that 3-shot multiplier, and hopefully hold the way through. Some fun things to note here during the tournament: we have yet to have a deathless run, even from some of the top players here. So I'm curious to see if this will be the match where we'll finally see that deathless run actually happen.
Absolutely, would love to see a deathless run out of either of these or both of these runners. Always great to see a close race in any case.
That's what we're all hoping for. We're all looking to see a close race, regardless if there's 0 deaths or 10 deaths. So long as it's a close matchup, everything is its own little encapsulated thing for us to work with. That being said, pretty straightforward strategies across the board while we get things kind of synced up here. We're going to see them grabbing the double shot here. You're seeing that Tin already has hers, and TRR kind of working on getting those additional hits in. You have to have, I believe, 10 hits, and the next small heart candle will then actually contain the second shot or triple shot if you already have the double shot. And you need to have, I think, at least 8 hearts, similar to having a long whip upgrade. So you can see they're going to be throwing the cross at a bunch of things here. We're going to be coming into the stables. You can take a bonk here on the wall and throw, I think, seven hits right there. So nice and solid. Use it where you can triple and take a D-boost off this Viper Swarm.
Yeah, stage 1 has a very straightforward pattern, being able to get these multipliers pretty quickly and reliably with pretty basic backups. The name of the game is use that health to boost forward. You've seen both these runners are at 3 health now. We may see some additional boosts moving in here toward the final boss room.
Damage boosters are pretty well scripted out in at least in level 1 specifically here, that you'll see a lot of consistency across the board where you kind of bleed your health down as much as possible. But at the higher levels of play, which we're seeing here as well, I mean, you're going to be using that to the best of your ability and go as fast as possible. Interesting little strat there by Tin, where she ducked down to actually take the Viper Swarm boost, a little bit safer variant of jumping into it.
And man, the sync in the last 2 rooms, amazing. Seeing runners synced up and they may grab it simultaneously. Look at that.
Oh, look at the opposing. It's like a playing card.
Right. Quite good. A great first stage from both runners. Moving on to stage 2, the river.
Fantastic. Looks like it's possible if we have the sync here pretty solid, that TRR is only maybe a fraction of a second ahead at this point. Again, a hand grab, anything like that would well, there it is on Tin's side.
Right.
Could change things, but not, unfortunately, into her favor. So at this point, you only can get out of it by throwing some low crosses and hoping that you don't get grabbed, but they're already done. That's the last time we'll actually see it. One thing to note that Castlevania 4 has this tendency of introducing new enemies and then quickly dismissing them, and then you never see them like again. Like these armadillos kind of just like appear here, and that's pretty much it. You'll see them in the next screen, but it's interesting to see how this game had so many unique enemies and different things that you only see in certain sections, whereas some other games around this time would rehash a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think that it lends it to really feel like it was a labor of love from the developers. Really put a lot of work into it. Really a lot of detailed, really great art, amazing music, just a great game overall.
Speaking of the sync, look at this. Look at this.
Wow, that is something else.
And these are two different frames. We can say that there, but definitely a lot of the same strategies going into it. But they have found a nice rhythm going into it. I'm curious to see if we're gonna have ourselves some synced up Medusa kills. Going across the bridge here, chucking a few crosses, grabbing some candle meat, taking care of the bats. Very clean execution from both runners. The difficulty, though, I mean, we're going to see things ramp up a bit with stage 3 with the long slog going through there. But nice, quick take care of Medusa, and off to the river they go. Look at that.
Yeah, amazingly close race. One of the we hope we won't have any commentator curse, but any moment, any mistake could change the fate here. But we could see this lead trade places back and forth.
Well, so far so good. I mean, definitely both runners putting in some excellent work overall. We knew this would be a great show. Coming up here on the second river screen, we're gonna see 5 D boosts. There's one, and we're gonna take one from this gargoyle, another bone pillar, then 2 more gargoyles. Unfortunately, the 5th one, for whatever reason, sometimes can give you an odd back boost. I'm curious to see if that'll possibly break the sync that we have here, or if we're gonna hold it together. And no, we're still there.
Absolutely, both runners cleanly making it through stage 2. On to stage 3, probably one of the more technical levels in the entire game. It's a little deceptive, it happening so early in the run. The first part of the technicality being these mudmen. It's very slow and very laggy to kill them. And so the best thing to do is try to jump over them or make your way over them as best as possible. And they move in random patterns that make that very difficult.
Some slight variation in routing there. We saw TR actually take like the before route, dropping down early, whereas Tin actually went over the top, it looked like. And having some difficulty there with the Mudmen for both of them. Health conservation is extremely important here because of some of the later boosts that you want to take in 3-2 and 3-3 specifically. And you need that capital to work with. You don't really end up getting a lot of meat in this stage compared to some of the other ones later on in the game.
And moving into this part of the section with the same amount of health, so we'll probably be seeing them going for the same tricks here. Some very cool, very technical tricks, kind of abusing some of the rules of the game here.
The sync here is beautiful. Now it looks like that Tin actually opted to take the bone pillar boost, whereas TRR went up and around. However, Tin had to readjust to get the ring glitch the second time around. TR got it on the first, and it's still extremely close. Look at this.
Wow, my heart jumped into my throat there when Tin took the backup boost, or the backup ring glitch there. She had to adjust that. I thought she might fall for a moment.
Well, definitely kept her composure under pressure there, and the pressure here, I mean, doing a ring glitch during just usual attempts in the practice is a whole separate animal than actually trying to do it during the tournament when it actually really counts. And it can be frustrating in that moment and very jarring if you miss it that first time, even though if you're regularly very, very consistent. And both runners taking that very safe, not going for the D-boost strats, trying to preserve that health through the Bone Dragon. And they'll be moving up into that. We have another ring glitch coming up about 2 screens from now, and I'm curious to see if they'll be going for that one, which I'm sure that they will, and we'll see if they get it.
Yeah, we saw Ten take an additional damage from the fuzzies in the climb, and so she wasn't able to do the eyeball boost. So we see the Russian Ruiner just with a slight lead ahead of her. TRR got the ring snap there, I believe, as well. Another little ring glitch trick.
One thing I wanted to point out there is that TRR did a very unique variant of the Bone Dragon boost that's there that I have not personally seen, actually stunning the dragon with a diagonal whip and then actually damage boosting underneath it to actually set that up. And then what that does is actually despawns the second Bone Dragon up top there, and quite nice. Moving on to the Orphic Vipers. Let's see if we can get the quick kill. Overall, pretty clean there from TRR, and about the same there for Tin as well. So still nice and even across the board here. Less than 9 minutes going into stage 4.
Anybody's race at this point. Moving into stage 4, we'll start to see some of the mode 7 and the SNES used a little more liberally, where you're rotating and stretching sprites out as they're making their way through this fortress.
Agreed. Now, so let's talk some shop here. We have not yet seen anyone go for a zip attempt yet in the tournament. Do you think that either of these runners would possibly go for it?
That is the question of the moment. My money is no. I think these runners are probably going to think better of going for such a risky trick in a race. But if one goes for it and gets it, that'll be a major advantage.
Ooh. Sorry about that. TRR actually just took an uncharacteristic death through those rotating platforms. It looks like he was trying to jump to set up the bat boost on the bit of high side, but actually fell through the process. Just a small misstep that almost cascaded into another one, no less. But he caught himself in the process. But now that we had a lead change in Tin, taking down Puexel.
Wow. The jumps in this game can be a little tricky. If you press the jump input at the wrong time, it can lock Simon in place. Oh no,
Oh my gosh.
another one. Oh no, this is not good for TRR.
So this is definitely a shift in momentum, and this is the psychology of actually doing a tournament match, hands down. I always bring it up, and it's definitely the biggest thing. And as a viewer, I mean, you can definitely see the frustration, or when you kind of get off script of what you expect to do. We can see he's not taking the jumps now. He's going to take things very safe in this regard. But that is a big hit that you have to kind of pick yourself back up from, kind of take a couple deep breaths and realize, okay, you're now kind of fighting from the corner. Like, you know that the person that you're up against is a fantastic runner, has a good time, very capable. So now I'm kind of curious to see, will he possibly go for something? I mean, he doesn't really have the cross to work with for the zip in the more comfortable conventional sense. So I don't think we're going to see that. But at this point, I may see some more risky strats possibly coming out from him on this side.
Yeah, we could definitely see some risks being taken. Although, it's questionable whether that actually pays off. If you're behind, or you think you're behind, are you actually doing yourself any favors by going for riskier strats? So we will see how he handles it moving forward here. Tin now moving through the mode 7 tunnel, showing off the power, the 16-bit power of the SNES with these rotating rooms. Handles the room quite nicely. Moving in here to the room where the zip could take place.
And now you're playing with power, superpower. Well, it looks like the Tin's not going to even get a chance at it. You have to hit those 2 jumps coming in there to actually set things up to get that early cycle. TRR making quick work here of hanging out with the Medusas for a little bit. Hopefully he used that time to kind of compose himself, kind of take, catch his breath and realize what's going to go on here. But the main name of the game here in CB4 is risk versus reward. And so we may see some of those more risky strats to possibly try to close the gap here. But again, anybody's race, still plenty of time to go. And this is kind of the intermission. Stages 4 and 5 are not really too bad for what it's worth. But I mean, hey, it's if CB4 wants to kill you at some point, it just takes a small lapse in concentration. That's all it takes.
Yeah, CV4 routinely finds new and interesting ways to kill and torture you. So it never disappoints in that regard.
Yeah, trust me. I walked off the stairs because Simon forgot how to use them in stage 9, by the way. And that was a fun one. And by the way, a fantastic kill there by Tim, but no early orb grab. But moving on to stage 5.
And TRR making his way now through the ascent up to the Coronat fight. Fun fact, Coronat backwards is ton of rock, which it describes the boss perfectly.
Well, he went down like a ton of rocks for 10, that's for sure. Hopefully TRR can also make quick work of him, even though that he does not have the triple shot cross at his disposal. This is where possibly relying on other categories like whip only and low percent, and having that nice baseline to work with, knowing how to take him down as quickly as possible. The axe can come in handy, and it's something you can kind of do. We talk about whip crosses. Also, axe whips is something you can do as well, basically hitting attack and sub-weapon on subsequent frames. Can actually do some nice work with stacking some damage and just getting that extra little bit of DPS. Tin on her side doing a pretty decent job throwing a myriad of safety crosses and still getting trolled by the Harpy that just flew just a little too high up. You hate to see it, but she recovers well and actually does not fall victim to the trap.
Yeah, those Harpies can be quite a nuisance and a textbook case as to why right there.
And by the way, Russian Ruiner taking down Coronat very, very deftly and also getting the early orb grab.
Very nice. Always cool to see that.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So both on stage 5, Tin making her way into Castlevania to the entrance of stage 6. Arguably one of the longest stages in the game. Definitely a lot of the most varied stuff. I'm curious to see if she's going to go for the more aggressive one cycle chandeliers, or if we're going to see a 2 or a 3 cycle here to kind of take things nice and easy.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any less than we might have seen a 2 cycle chandelier in the Croonin and Drunken Draconian race, but not much. Typically seeing 3 cycle chandelier runs, but I'm sure we'll see some 2 and 1 cycles in the later rounds for sure.
Yes, as the skill level keeps going up as the tournament progresses, that's going to become more and more commonplace, and we're going to see more and more risky things. We will see a zip at some point during this tournament, I guarantee. That being said, Tin was getting bullied pretty badly by the axe armor on the way up there, so it looks like she's going to take things probably a bit safer here, from what it looks like, so it shouldn't be too bad. Nice, clean 2 cycle chandelier to go through.
Yeah, and again, this is still anyone's game. If 10 makes a mistake and loses some time, it would give TRR a chance to catch up, and that could very well happen here.
Sometimes that's the best strategy, hands down, is just try to play as consistently as possible and hope that your opponent is the one that makes the mistake and not you. And obviously right now, again, Russian Ruiner kind of fighting from his corner, trying to make up the ground as best as possible as Tin charges ahead. Makes quick work of those ectoplasms, and by throwing the crosses in a nice way. The only dangerous part about that one is actually having to jump over the axe, and hopefully that you don't get pushed back into it. TRR heading into the chandeliers as well. Let's see how aggressively he takes this one, as we see Tinnue take the bat boost on that side. A textbook, nice and clean. And nice quick jumps over top of the spike platforms.
Yeah, TRR looking like he's probably going for a 3 cycle in the chandeliers as well.
Yeah, it's best to go with consistency. I definitely don't blame him for that decision there. That is an extremely hefty time loss going through that and taking that death, because you go all the way back to the beginning of stage 6 and have to walk all the way through the bottom again, ride the chandeliers across, and it can definitely add up in time. And right now, he's looking not to hemorrhage anymore based on the early losses. But again, still plenty of stuff for us to go through. Tin in the skeleton hallway getting bullied pretty badly there, taking a pretty big chunk of damage. However, there is some backup meat in the next screen that she could take if needed. We'll see if she decides to opt to pass it up or gonna spend the time to go get it.
Yeah, it looks like she may be heading for it.
That's a good decision. I think that taking a few seconds out of your route to save potentially a good chunk of time by dying and losing your cross at this point where you can't actually get it back for until stage 7 begins. And as we know here, that this cross does a really great job with shredding bosses, especially the stage 6 boss here, Paul Abdul and Fred Scare. Makes very quick work of that versus trying to do things whip only.
Certainly. Losing a cross is a fate worse than death in Castlevania 4. Really, deaths aren't as painful if you can recover your cross quickly and get back up to that triple cross efficiency.
It's funny how things are kind of gauged like that, where like if you take a death in like 3-3 in that like screen, and you can't get your cross back until basically stage 5, like that one hurts extremely badly. But if you're able to die near a cross where there is one, not too bad. And that's a clean kill. Very, very good across the board. And a nice Triforce. Look at that.
Very nice. Gotta go for the swag in the tournament runs.
We saw a good one today from Decapent, by the way. It was during the Zapvat fight at the end there. Very clean Triforce. One of my favorite ones I've seen so far during the tournament. Moving on to stage 7, we are in ourselves the quiet library, and it looks like the knight is almost almost not going to play nice, but making her way through here, getting pushed back by the axe armor though. That's definitely damage that was not intended at this point. TRR down to 3 health has to be very careful of these dancer spawns, so I expect probably some safety crosses going up. Watch those patterns closely.
Yeah, 10 taking quite a bit more damage than she probably would have wanted to take in the screen. However, again, stage 7 is fairly generous in the amount of meat that is available to heal yourself. You just have to take a little bit of extra time to grab it, but I imagine she may be doing that soon.
Okay, coming in, getting the bad axe, unfortunately, so can't take that axe boost coming through there. We'll see. Ooh, hugs the red skeleton, but falls safely back onto the book. Looks like she may be
setting up.
Nicely done.
Very nice. Yeah, those red skeletons are one of the most damaging enemies in the game, doing 4 bars of health versus most skeletons that do 3 or less. So taking a hit from one of them is dangerous.
Agreed. I think the biggest thing with them that's scary though is that if you kill them off cycle, it feels like they always pop back up at the worst possible time to hit you right off the edge there. TRR, by the way, stepping into the library as well. I mean, definitely not out of this by any means. He definitely can pull this together, but his windows of opportunity are slowly closing as Tin charges forward.
That was a little scary for 10. She was down to 3 health, taking the jump over the Axe Knight. That could have spelled a death for her, but she made it over, got the safety meat, and now is on her way toward the end of stage 7 to face Sir Grakul.
And it looks like Axe Knights are not being kind today. No low axe to boost off of here, unfortunately. So TR always going to be setting up here for the book jump as well here. Ooh, getting there a bit late. So it looks like he's going to skip that. Oh, what?
No.
Now, again, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. That had to have been a small hiccup, I guess. When you kind of get off script, when it comes down to a speedrun like this, when things are very much kind of structured in such a way, muscle memory can play a very strange role in all of this. And I think that's what kind of happened there, where maybe he wanted to go back or didn't think he was going to make it. But offhand here, Tin lengthening the lead here, getting a good stride and taking down Sir Grakul pretty quickly.
Oh, man. TRR taking another death. That part is mitigated. If you can grab that axe there, you can get a long distance hit on that skeleton and then get a second hit coming across. It looked like maybe in that first death that he took, he might have hit the candle instead of the skeleton with his whip, and it may have canceled the damage to the skeleton.
That is unfortunate. So, again, he's down to 1 life at this point. Definitely does not want to take an untimely game over here that he can't recover from quickly. So I'm curious to see how things are going to go out here, but definitely going to be running scared at this point. Tin on her side, charging through into stage hate, doing a nice job here on the first screen overall. And you can see what version that she's playing on right now with the oceans of blood in the dungeon versus just the green muck that we deal with in Super Castlevania 4 directly. Going to be despawning this second Bone Dragon. You guys don't even know it's there if all you've been watching is speedruns. Just walking forward, the sprite limit overloads, and the second Bone Dragon doesn't show up. Opting not to take the droplet boost, coming down here, may grab some safety meat. Yeah, nice, quick and easy, doesn't take too much time. On TRR side, grabbing a double shot for his axe, and we'll be jumping down here and going to fight Grakul as well. Health, unfortunately, not where he probably wants it to be, so he may take some of this area safe and avoid some of the deboosts in the process, even though he feels like he's going to have to make up some time, and he does.
Yeah, going into this final fight in stage 7 with lower health and no cross is a scary proposition. Sir Grackle without a cross is a very different boss.
Agreed. It definitely lowers the DPS entirely, and you want to try to avoid the fire attacks from his axe, because those can be rather damaging, whereas the sword attacks and also him throwing the axe does considerably less damage. Tin coming up to Vegas Bridge and admiring it for all of its beauty. It rolls out the red carpet and she struts across, no problem at all. Sir Grackle for TRR. Actually playing quite nice. Just able to whip him down, take care of his shins, and there we are. Both runners on bosses here, and 2 boss kills on 2 separate stages here. We got TRR moving on to stage 8, and Tin moving on to stage 9.
Yeah, TRR using those triple axes to great effect against Grackle, really knocking down his health and really showing what the power of that triple sub weapon can do, even when it's not a cross.
Okay, stage 9, Treasury. I always like the mixture of you, like, it feels like you're coming out of the dark. That you've made it out of the dungeon, and now you're rewarded by great music and such a bright color scheme to work with. You can see the contrast actually right here, looking at TRR screen versus Tinnue, and you got to feel right now that this is definitely the moods, oddly enough, reflective of the runners at this point. TRR is definitely not happy with the performance so far, and it's understandable entirely. And whereas Tin's feeling pretty good about what's going on their side. That being said, these crumbling blocks, you want to jump over these and try to reduce their lag as much as possible. Kind of throwing these crosses. TRR coming up here. Not going to get a chance at the 1-frame jump based on that pattern, but I can't imagine he would be going for that based on some risks that we've seen before. Not really worth going back to the beginning of stage 8 for something so small. Looks like we may have a problem with the feed here on my side.
I don't know if if we're a little behind here. I know the remarks you're making about stage 9, though it does kind of feel like you're coming out of the dungeon. The danger does not go away. It's definitely just as dangerous and just as difficult.
Okay, so interestingly enough, it seems like the feed that I'm seeing is different than what's actually being on the live stream here, so I'm just going to try to go with what I got. My apologies for any delay. So this may be slightly delayed commentary. I apologize for that, but I'll come back to it here in the meantime. TheRussianRuiner looks like he's going to be able to get across Vegas Bridge just fine, whereas Tinnue's working her way up the Zap Bat, and that fight should be commencing here shortly. So again, we're going to see some boss kills pretty close. Tinnue just maintaining that 1-stage lead over TRR. A lot of ground to make up and not a lot of time to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like 10 making her way to the final boss of stage 9. Oh, here we are. Looks like we're back. 10 trying to get those 22 hits in to break the bat apart at a good height. Not quite getting the height that you would ideally want.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is that if you actually get that low hit on Zap Bat, it seems like the bats have a lot less velocity, where they actually will not kind of like bound around as much, and they're more apt to being hit by those crosses a lot easier. However, if you kill Zap Bat at the very top of the screen and they kind of swoop down to you, they carry a lot of like kind of sweeping momentum, and they'll kind of sweep up and down a little bit faster, and they won't really stay within that straight trajectory of the cross. So as low as possible is definitely ideal, hands down. But glad to see that she was able to make quick work of Zap Bat. TRR moving his way through here as well. He's got a double shot cross in his pocket. And we got Tinnue jumping in here into stage A, the clock tower. Wonderful music overall. And shortest stage, too, no less. but not without its dangers.
Oh yes, absolutely. Stage A is definitely one of the more difficult, probably the most technical stage of the entire run, especially for a speedrunner. The more advanced strats there are a lot of tight moves, a lot of very small windows to try to get these tricks in.
Yes, it is. It is very, very dense and condensed, and it's just extremely demanding execution-wise when you want to play this one at the highest level. Granted, you could take things pretty safe across the board here on the slower side. And I mean, Tin may not be aware of the lead that she currently has at this point, and could afford doing so. But again, if you have a certain routine that you follow and certain strats that you do, it's best just kind of stick with what you know, rather than making adjustments on the fly. This screen in particular right here that we have in A3 is, sorry, I think that might be A4. Is extremely difficult and packed full of stuff here, but overall looks like that Tin's going to go ahead and just take things pretty safe. Not going to be looking for a D-boost to kind of get past all of this mess here. Just kind of whip everything down and climb the way up here on the slow side. Speaking of a climb, TRR on their side, currently pushing their way up towards Zapbats. Doing a pretty good job, very clean the whole way up there. And has a triple shot cross to work with very soon here, it looks like, too. Here we go.
Tin making her way to the final ascent up to the mummy boss. We'll see what kind of RNG pattern the mummy can give. This fight can go very quickly, or it can be take a little bit longer depending on the kind of pattern that you get. So we'll see here.
Tin also did a very nice floor clip there by grabbing the ring at the lowest part, able to pull herself up and skipping that round of steps and getting a very good RNG and very well maybe a one cycle. And
one cycle mummy.
Nice job.
There it is. I don't know if that's the first one we've seen in the tournament, but it's fantastic.
It's the first one I remember seeing. I don't think the mummy has played nice for others, but very good execution, and we have ourselves boss kills back to back once again, but Tin maintains that one stage lead. Pretty good zap bat from TRR. One bat got away, and he had to swat it down, but took care of it nonetheless. All right, Tin moving on to the final stage, stage B. B stands for boss rush. Well, not really, but we got 5 bosses to work with. The first one is Bat Bridge, and then we'll be moving on. Well, not really boss. Then we'll be moving on to Stairs boss. We'll see how things go with that, and we'll see how TRR handles the clock tower here in the meantime.
Yeah, the Bat Bridge being one of the other more notorious laggy sections of the game, and lag a big enemy of the speedrunner, because while the game may slow down, your timer's not going to slow down. And so lag mitigation is a big strategy on this bridge, trying to prevent as much lag as possible.
And right you are there, Lord Fancy Puss. Stairs boss, here we go. You only get one chance to climb up these stairs. We got some pretty tricky traps to deal with here in the process. Konami thought it was a beautiful, kind of fun thing to do, is that, you know, that heart is impossible to get, to my knowledge. I have no idea how you'd actually get it normally over top of the steps. But the fact that they have these falling platforms, and you're being chased by the spiked wheel from Battletoads, effectively, in that one stage, that climbs its way up about halfway and it just kind of gives up. Pretty much at this point, it stops being a factor. So they're like, well, we're just going to throw some floating platforms in for good measure. And they can be particularly laggy too if you actually let them go and not get get on the first cycle here. TRR making his climb up here, the penultimate screen of the clock tower, where we have Tinnue just kind of taking things by the book. No fancy ring glitches or ring snaps to pop their way up there at this point. I expect things will be pretty much textbook on the way out here, but nonetheless on a very good pace. Let's see if she can finish out here strong.
Yeah, Tinnue approaching the third boss of the boss rush. I guess the first actual official boss, Slagra. One of the more notorious bosses of Super Castlevania 4. Pretty heavy on RNG and a very dangerous boss in any circumstance.
And sitting on a full stack of health and a pocket full of hearts there, so not too bad overall. TRR having some difficulty here. It kind of got stuck on the ascent, it looks like. Has to cross down that bone dragon. I didn't see what happened there offhand. But he's on his way to fight Akmadan II. Slogger getting crossed down by overlapping those crosses like that. You can actually do multiple pips of damage versus the intended very long, like 20 cycle Slogger. But we can actually see that she's making quick work of it. Slogger being kind of aggressive, but nonetheless not too bad overall. Well executed across the board. Aquadon giving pretty good RNG to TheRussianRuiner. However, this is going to be a 2 cycle. And yeah, that's all pretty good. Moving on to Gaibon. So Slogger and Gaibon, it's interesting to note, just a little from the lore standpoint, they are actually the servants of death, which is why they are actually together. The name of the song that plays here is the Room of Close Associates. And when you go and fight death in Symphony of the Night, you actually find a whole bunch of Slogger and Gaibon right in that area, because death is nearby. And not to mention, you meet death in the beginning of Soten, and the first bosses you come across are Slogger and Gaibon. Interestingly enough, if you go back down after meeting death, after going into the alchemy lab, they will be standing where you met him, curiously enough. So just a fun little fact that Slogger and Gaibon are canonically the servants of death.
Yeah, retrofile with the Castlevania trivia. Very nice. And Tinnue having a very nice death fight, able to set up those crosses and able to take death down very quickly. Now on the final approach to Dracula, a little low on hearts. You think she'll take the secret?
We'll find out here momentarily, and it looks like she's going to single digit. I mean, you want to kind of have a little bit higher up there, but doesn't need the full amount to work with. But falls off. We had a chance at a deathless.
I blame myself. I was just about to say, I think we might have the first deathless run of the tournament, but no.
She was going to claim the title. It was going to happen. I was feeling it in my heart. I didn't want to mention a single thing about it.
Yes, I was afraid to say anything, and oh no. Well, that I have been in that position before, but it looks like she's still got a great chance here of closing this one up and becoming our winner. We will see how the Dracula fight goes, however.
Oh, I'm still reeling from that. My heart breaks because it's like you're on the cusp. You're there. You're basically you're once you played the game enough, and Drac can still throw some surprises at you with things. But overall, once you're kind of past a lot of the main hurdles of this, it feels like a deathless run is pretty much inevitable. And just a slight misstep like that can happen. I mean, you're dealing with an invisible platform. The best thing you can do is kind of use the moon as your guide. And I think that she had pushed herself to the edge there and just didn't make the jump in time, unfortunately. It's gotta hurt, but obviously it looks like she's got this locked in. Whereas TheRussianRuiner is fighting Slog right now with very nice cross placements. Very good across the board here.
I think we speedrunners like to joke that secret area is the true final boss of Castlevania. It's a really tricky place, especially when you're in a rush to try to get through.
Agreed. And that is it, folks. Waiting for Tinnue here to lock in and grab the orb. Tin will be moving on and dropping TheRussianRuiner down into the low bracket here with a fantastic, it looks like it's going to be a mid to, about a mid 36. She's got to be very happy with this one, but definitely got to be feeling that on that death, unfortunately. So close to being the first deathless run overall, but a fantastic performance nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the top times that we have seen in the tournament so far. Really fantastic run, and GG to 10 for this win.
Agreed. And here we stand in front of Castlevania as Simon Belmont lays it to waste. TRR laying waste to Gaibon, moving on to death. Triple shot cross ready to go. Should be nice and clean. We should hope, and then taking care of Dracula, and we can put this one in the books, folks. But this was a very good race overall. Some heartbreaking moments on both sides. But overall, fantastic performances and some excellent displays of skill as well.
And TRR not quite getting the cross placements to get the fastest death, but it looks like, a little scary here.
He hangs on.
He manages to pull it out. Great job.
Yep, great job. He's definitely going to be... he has no hearts right now, 1 health. I think he's going to go for the secret.
I think that's a good bet.
Though that would be like a bold play, Cotton. If he jumps up and just skips everything and just goes into Drac with that setup, I would give him nothing but kudos for that. But go,
Absolutely, yeah. That would be
go,
legendary.
going for the full refill. I stand behind that. That'd be pretty good.
The nice little moonwalk up the stairs. That's another thing in this game is you can press certain directions when moving upstairs and walk forward while actually moving backwards up the stairs. Russian Ruiner going for the Drac fight now. And he should finish him off handily here. Not expecting to see... Oh yeah, getting into the second phase by the third cycle. Very good.
Yeah, the cross placements and the whip overlap has been very good across the board. However, getting trapped in the corner, Drac being a bit of a jerk there, and sometimes that can happen. Bit of a thing to note for those that maybe don't know that every fourth spawn that Dracula does, he will actually teleport to your location. And that's something that you can kind of count on there. It looks like that we're at about a 5 or a 6 cycle here out of the opening. Plenty of health to work with. I imagine Russian Ruiner should have no problem putting Drac away. And we will put this one here in the books. And I will say, and we'll commend some very difficult and trying times here, taking some unexpected deaths in stage 4. So having that difficulty kind of going through your mind, it definitely hurts. I think that all things considered, Russian Ruiner recovered well and did well across it, and that's just a testament to their skill. And still a fantastic time, all things considered, even with all those deaths. Looks like this might still be a sub 40, possibly. It depends how fast Drac can die and the sun can come through. Oh, it's going to be close.
So close.
Yes!
Just barely.
Sub
40 for both runners, even with the trouble that TRR had throughout the run, to still come out at the very end just under sub 40 is a tremendous accomplishment. So GG's all around to both runners. Fantastic showing.
Agreed. Absolutely commendable on both sides there. I'm very pleased to see that sub 40 happen, even amidst all the adversity. That to me is a small victory and a small triumph, even though that he's going down to the lower bracket here. But Tin putting on an excellent show for all of us, almost clinching the first deathless run of the tournament. That title is still eluding and elusive at this point, but hopefully we will see that happen.
It's bound to happen at some point. But yeah, it was a little heartbreaking to see that happen there at the very end. And I've definitely been in that position, taking that death on an otherwise deathless run.
Yep, it's just a small lapse, like I said, of concentration, even in the smallest moments right toward the end there, where you see the light at the end of the tunnel. It can happen. But hey, Tin is currently here with us here in the booth. Let's get her side of the story about it. Tin, how do you feel about that run?
Hi guys. First of all, thanks for the awesome commentary.
My pleasure.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah, I'm feeling good now. Always a bit nervous during the race. Nerves are pretty high.
Agreed.
Yeah, understood entirely. You had a fantastic run just from beginning to end. We we were both kind of reeling from that death you took right before Dracula.
Oh god, yeah.
we knew you had the race. We had the race in hand, but Retrophile and I both were had in our heads, this is going to be the first deathless run, and then you fell,
yeah.
and yeah, it was no fun.
I don't know. It's one of these moments. I was talking about that with D&D Net when we did commentary on Wednesday about what happens if you try to take it safe. Because I don't know, sometimes you have these moments you're like, okay, I'm gonna take this safe, and then instead of taking it safe, a lot of bullshit happens. You're like, what the heck? Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, Castlevania 4 is can deal out the bullshit quite regularly.
Well, nonetheless, a fantastic showing from you, Tin. And my apologies. I can you put it to bed for us? Just out of curiosity, what is the proper pronunciation of your name? Just so that we all know. I'm so sorry. I kind of went back and forth throughout the entire time.
Yeah, I think there are like 10 different versions out there right now. So normally I pronounce it with German like Tinnue. is the correct one. But anyone says Tin anyway, so just say Tin and you're fine.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Nonetheless, a fantastic showing, though. A great time overall. A single death is it's only a tiny blemish overall in this fantastic run, and a great display of skill. So great job, and congratulations for moving on there, Tin.
Thanks.
We're also joined here in the booth by the Russian Ruiner. Hello, TRR. How are you doing right now? I'm sure that you're not too pleased about that run, but you know what? Hey, still sub 40. Hell of a triumph amidst all that adversity.
Hello, can you hear me
We can hear you.
Yep.
or not? Yep. Yeah. First, I'm sorry for my English. Congrats to Tin. She did a very solid run. I think almost deathless, except last moment, but it does not count. And yeah, I'm really sorry, guys, for this run. I was really big. I did a big misclick on stage 3, I guess, or stage 4. And after that, I guess it started to be not good run after that. But I, sorry, I did my best. Yeah. I will prepare for next race because it's double elimination. Probably, I hope I will prepare and don't be so nervous as today.
Yeah, nerves are definitely a thing. But for those who haven't watched it, TheRussianRuiner just came back after quite a while being off the game and got a 35 just before the race. So congrats on that.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations there. Yeah,
So TRR, I know this is a frustrating moment overall. We could see the frustration right there in stage 4 where things happen, because that was a completely unexpected and rare kind of fluke death that kind of happens there. I think you picked up the pieces pretty well across the board, and again, you make a very good point that this is double elimination. You're not out of this. I think you're going to clean up and do really well in the lower bracket. I don't think this is going to be the last we're going to see of you, and I think you're going to be able to rebound quite nicely. You have a lot of skill. And I truly do believe that you're going to do very well. So glad to see you here. Glad to see that you're participating. And thank you to you both for participating in this tournament. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, GG's to both of you. Fantastic runs.
Okay, guys. I think that's going to do it for us this evening. I don't believe we have any upcoming matches here within the next couple of hours, but I believe we do have some stuff possibly slated for later today. Lord Fancibus, do you happen to have the schedule handy and know what we've got on the books here?
I'm not looking at it, but I'm pretty sure the next run is going to be my run against Infamous upcoming here. I have to get the exact time here. In fact, let me get the bracket from the chat.
I'm taking a look at this now. Yeah, it looks like we have Infamous. Yeah, looking at all the stuff that we have on the books here. So we have Infamous versus you. That is on the books for today. It looks like it's slated for 2 p.m. Eastern time on my side. So that would be 7 p.m. GMT plus 0. You can do the math from there based on what you've got. But it looks like 2 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Central. Overall should be pretty good. Looks like commentary is going to be handled by Kenshin Trek and Eagle Eye Jones. That should be a good commentary team overall. That'll be taking place here. And then the other one we have is slated for a bit later in March. On March 26th, we have Cypher versus Kenshin. That's going to be a fun one. That's some round 2 action that we've got on the books here. But hey, LFP, I wish you nothing but the best with that match, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Yeah, good luck on your match.
Thanks so much. I'm nervous but excited. It will be my first tournament match, so excited about that.
It is one hell of an experience, my friend, that you can't really prepare for until you're in the moment. I'll put it that way. But just rely on what you know. Do your best. Have fun with it, hands down. And at the end of the day, remember this: it is double elimination. So even if you have a bad showing or a bad thing that happens out of the get-go, you will have a chance to come back. This is not your only attempt to do this, so you'll do just fine.
I appreciate the advice, and I hope that I do well. And thanks everyone for joining us today, and appreciate the runners and all the organizers. And I will catch you next time.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care, be well, and be safe. Thank you very much to Tin, to TRR for putting on a great show for us here. And guys, we'll be back here again a little bit later. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
See you
Thank you.
guys. Rolling out.
Just as we get JC rating the channel.